From life-changing technology to strange experiments that flopped, here are 10 of the weirdest inventions that actually worked. Number 10, diving bells. The diving bell was invented by an Italian man named Daniel Crelli in 1578. It was a hollow glass sphere that could be filled with air and attached to a weighted metal frame so that it would sink. It allowed divers to stay underwater for longer periods of time without needing to carry cumbersome breathing apparatus. But this didn't last long. As soon as the divers were underwater, the pressure would collapse the sphere. And when they came back up, the air inside the bell would expand as the pressure decreased, forcing the diver to breathe in more air than their lungs could hold. This would often result in severe lung damage or death. No. 9. A monorail train. Joseph appeared to have had a fascination with monorails. He once designed a monorail train that consisted of a single rail with 2 sets of wheels on either side of it. This allowed the train to go around sharp corners and even ride up inclines. The first model was built in 1867, and it worked like a charm. There was just one problem, though. The train had no brakes. On a test run, Joseph lost control of the train and crashed into a wall, but he wasn't deterred by this setback. He went ahead and patented his design, which was then built by the Baldwin Locomotive Works in 1872. Once again, it ran well during tests, but there was still no braking system. So the company refused to deliver it. Joseph then took his plans to the L.C. Smith Company, but they also refused to make it after seeing the crazy contraption. It wasn't until 34 years later that the monorail train was finally built by the English Electric Company in 1906, and it was put on display at the 1906 International Congress of Applied Sciences in Toronto. Number 8, self-balancing sled. In 1881, a French inventor named Alfred Cazella created a self-balancing sled that was designed to allow children to easily go down hills without having to worry about losing control. His contraption looked like a giant pair of stilts with a seat attached to it. The legs were connected to the seat by springs, which would automatically balance the rider and keep them upright. It worked so well that children were soon riding it on public roads, causing quite a stir among the townspeople. The sled was so popular that other inventors started to copy it. One of them even added a steering mechanism so that riders could control where they were going. But not everyone was happy about these new contraptions. Many people felt that they were too dangerous and were demanding that they be banned. However, the craze only died down when the novelty wore off and people realized that it was just a normal sled. Number 7, rainproof coat. In 1923, an Irish doctor named John Patrick Behan invented a raincoat that was designed to keep its wearer dry in all kinds of weather. His invention consisted of a rubberized canvas coat with a hood. But what made this raincoat special was its ability to repel water even when the person wearing it was upside down. Dr. Byrne conducted a series of tests to demonstrate the effectiveness of his invention. In one test, he stood on his head in a downpour for 10 minutes and emerged completely dry. The secret behind the water-repellent properties of the coat was the rubberized canvas that Dr. Behan had used to make it. This type of material is made by coating canvas with a thin layer of rubber, which makes it waterproof. Before this invention, people had to carry umbrellas around with them wherever they went in case it started raining. But with a coat like this one, they could be prepared for any kind of weather without having to worry about getting wet. Number 6, vacuum cleaner suit. In 1931, an American inventor named Hubert Cecil Booth invented a vacuum cleaner suit. The suit was designed so that the wearer could walk through dirt and debris and collect it in a bag attached to their waist. It consisted of a tight-fitting rubber suit with a hood and gloves. Air was drawn through the suit by a powerful vacuum cleaner, which collected dust and debris as it passed through. The collected dirt and debris was stored in a bag attached to the suit. Although the idea was sound, the vacuum cleaner suit was never commercially successful. This was due to several problems with the design. For example, the suit was very heavy and cumbersome and restricted the wearer's movement. Additionally, the vacuum cleaner was noisy and drew a lot of attention. Despite these drawbacks, the vacuum cleaner suit is an interesting invention that shows how early innovators were trying to make life easier by automating simple tasks. Number 5, a coin-operated washer. The first coin-operated washer was invented by a German engineer named Johann Georg Gempel in 1854. His machine was a large metal box with a crank handle on one side and a slot for coins on the other. Customers would put their dirty clothes in the machine, turn the crank to mix them around, and then add soap. When it was full, they would close the lid, insert a coin, and press a button to start the wash cycle. The machine would then agitate the clothes for about 20 minutes before stopping and allowing the customer to take their now clean laundry out of it. While Gempel's invention was practical and efficient, it was never widely adopted. This was due to several factors, including the lack of public infrastructure for coin-operated machines and the expense of manufacturing them. It wasn't until almost a century later that coin-operated washers became common in laundries. 4. Human cannonball. In 1928, an American daredevil named Glenn A. Curtis performed the first human cannonball stunt. For this death-defying feat, he was shot out of a cannon like a projectile and flew through the air for over 200 feet. The stunt was performed at the Belmont Park in San Diego, California, and although Curtis survived unscathed, the stunt was deemed too dangerous to ever be repeated. To perform the stunt, Curtis was placed inside an 8-inch naval cannon, which was then fired by an explosive charge. He was propelled through the air at a speed of 60 miles per hour and reached a height of 150 feet. After flying through the air for 200 feet, he landed on a net in front of a crowd of spectators who had gathered to watch the show. Although the stunt was never repeated, Curtis went on to perform other death-defying feats, including motorcycle jumping and airplane flying. 3. Hoverbike. The hoverbike is a type of personal air vehicle that has been featured in science fiction movies and TV shows for decades. But did you know that it was actually invented in the 1970s? The first working prototype was created by a British engineer named Henry Small in 1973. His invention consisted of a motorcycle-like vehicle with 2 large fans mounted on either side of the handlebars. The fans were powered by a small engine which allowed the vehicle to lift off the ground and hover. Unfortunately, the hoverbike was never mass-produced, and only a few models were ever built. One of the main reasons for this was the high cost of production, which made each unit extremely expensive. Another drawback was the noise generated by the fans, which could be heard up to a mile away. These days, several companies are working on developing their own versions of the hoverbike. Some models are electric-powered, while others use combustion engines. It remains to be seen whether the hoverbike will ever become a common form of transportation or remain a novelty item. Number 2. Plumber's snake. The plumber's snake, also known as the drain auger, was invented in the mid-19th century. It is a long, flexible tool with a handle on one end and a corkscrew-like device on the other. The tool is used to clear blockages from drains and sewers. The first recorded patent for a plumber's snake was filed in 1850 by an American inventor named John W. Hyatt. Hyatt's invention consisted of a long piece of wire that was bent into a spiral shape and attached to a crank handle. This allowed the user to rotate the wire and push it through a blockage in order to break it up. Over the years, many different types of plumber's snakes have been developed. Some are made from solid steel cables, while others use flexible plastic tubing. The modern-day plumber's snake is an essential tool for any plumber, and it remains largely unchanged from the original design. Number 1. A self-cleaning toilet. You might think that the self-cleaning toilet is a recent invention, but it was actually invented over 100 years ago. In 1914, an American inventor named George Bohemia patented the automatic self-cleaning water closet. The toilet was designed to automatically flush and clean itself after each use. This was done by a series of gears and levers that controlled the flow of water into the bowl. If you want to see more amazing videos, check out this video next.